Hi, this is just a little video to show you how to create handwritten fonts to be used in my program. My program uses fonts created out of DXF files. So I create each each character in LibriCAD. Basically, the first thing to do is to actually write all your characters. So I use a sheet similar to this. I put one on my web in which to write each character. It's got all the characters listed out with the ASCII numbers, and if you have a close look, these lines, the top line and the bottom line are 5 mil apart. This is my default size for my program. So basically, if we make all the fonts 5 mil high, or the capital fonts, 5 mil, my program knows what to do, can scale them from there onwards, basically. So once you've written all your fonts, you should actually end up with something like this. So this is one I did. It has all my handwritten characters on there. Once I've done that, I scan them. Then once I scan them, I then I use Corel Draw, but any program, Inkscape or such, you can convert them to vector graphics. Basically, I do an outline conversion, so I just convert them to an outline. So set them so that it looks pretty similar to what's been scanned. Once you've got your outline, get rid of all your white bits. You can delete all these, and I also delete the originals, so I'm just left with just the handwritten characters. Once I've converted them to vector graphics, I then export them as a DXF file. Then once you've exported them as a DXF file, you can load them into LibriCAD, and you should have something similar to this. You've got the outline of each character that you've actually handwritten. So then once we've got the full set of characters, we now need to create a file, a DXF file for each character. So to start with, what I'll do is I will open up my template, my character template. Basically, this is just a box, and it's the same size as this box we had on here. So this box here, this box is just the same as this box. So then if we take a character, let's take the character E, and let's copy that. So if we go to copy up here, and then we set its origin, zoom in so that we can get a nice snap to a nice point close by. Once we've copied that, we can go out to our template and we can then paste it in. So we'll go paste, and if I turn off snaps, we can position it to the most left point and the bottom point. So basically somewhere there like that. Once it's in position, we're okay. I'll put the snaps back on. What we need to do now is we need to actually draw the lines the computer will use to the plotter will use to write the letter E. So if we go to turn on our handwriting layer, so we're on our handwriting layer, and so everything we do now is on that layer, and we're going to use the 3-point curve here. basically this 3-point curve. Nobody actually draws an exactly straight line. All your lines when you're writing are either a slight curve or a big curve. They're basically a curve no matter what. Well, in general, unless you're going to use a ruler, but they're all going to be curves. So we're going to use this 3-point curve for every line. We're going to build all the characters out of these 3-point curves. This is the only one we're going to use. Now what I suggest here, so if we click that, and what I suggest here is for each character you may want to just write it again on a scrap piece of paper and just do it in slow motion so you can actually see how you actually write it, because when you're writing you just do it in automatic mode and you just write it, and you do it that often you don't actually know what you're actually doing, you just write it basically. But what I found was when I was writing an E is I actually start about here, on the capital E, start here, then I come down and to this point to start with. Also, if you draw the lines in the order that you actually write the lines, then the plotter will actually plot them in the same order. So I come down to here, then from there I come back up and I come up to here, and then from there I then come down to here and to here. So basically I do all that before lifting my pen, and then I lift my pen and I come to this point, and then I come down and I come to here, and then I lift my pen again, I come to this point, and then I come to here. So basically that's how I write an E, and so if you do it in the same order, then your plotter is going to do it in the same order as well. So once we've actually got the lines that we actually want to create the E from, you need to select them all. It doesn't matter which order you select them in. But we want to convert them all now to polylines. So we've got our polylines up here, and what we want to do is we want to create polylines from all those lines. The way I've written my software is that it writes polylines better and faster than it does single lines. If they were all single lines, the pen would lift at each and every one of these points, and we don't want that. So like for this line, we want this line to be one line, and we don't want the pen to lift until it gets to the end. So basically what we need to do is we need to convert them to polylines, and when we convert them to polylines it will convert them in the order that it's going to draw or write them. So if we go click once, we can see that's the first one it's going to actually draw, and then we're going to draw that one, and then that's the last one it's going to draw. So we know that's the order it's going to go. It's going to go this one, and then this one. We can also check in the direction in which it's going to draw. So if we select them, we can see the light blue is at this end. That is the start point. And you can't see that because it's got the last point there. But this one's going to start there. The light blue is the start and the dark blue is the finish. And then if we click this one, we can see the dark blue there, that's the finish, and the light blue here is the start. So it's going to go start there, it's going to go down, up and across. So it's going to actually write that letter E the same way I write it. So once we've got all that sorted and checked, if any of these are the wrong way around, so basically if say that light point was at this end and the dark blue was at this end, you've got this tool here which you can switch them around. So if I click that, reverse direction, you can see that the light blue, well you can't see it, but the dark blue's gone here and the light blue, trust me, the light blue's over there. So then I can switch that round again. Just be careful when you're switching these around is that if you modify one of these lines, let's do this one, do it again. So let's say I switch this one and we want to draw it in that direction. Oh no, we don't. We want to draw it in the other direction. So I switch it again. That is the last one that's been modified. Now if I was to select all these, you will find that when we do the conversion, this will be the last line drawn. So if I go click and then I go click and you can see that's the last one that's been drawn. But I want this one to be the last one to be drawn. So what I can do is I can click that and I can do a modification on it and bring it back, so then it's there. And now that was the last one I modified, it is the last one that is going to be drawn, because if I can just check that again by creating a polyline again, I can just go that one, and it's got the middle one, and then it's got the bottom one, and it's in the correct order that I want them to be. So once we've done that, what I tend to do is, once I've created all my fonts and everything, I do two copies of this file. I do a master and an actual copy. The actual copy is just the font, the ASCII character number. So if we look at, in each folder for each font that we create, there needs to be a handwriting data text file. You can see an example. I've done an example, so you'll see that this file is in there, and this file lists each character number and each character that belongs to it. This is the decimal number, and then the next column is the hex number, the next column is the actual character, the next column is the width of the character, and the next column is your shortcut if you want to create this character on a web page. Basically, if you type that in your web code, it will create this character. So the important one for us is this column here, this fourth column. This is our width. So if we look for our capital E, so we scroll up, we get our capital E. At the moment it's set at 5 millimeters width. So what I do is we look at this and we can see that that's 1 mil, 2 mil, 3 mil, 4 mil, and then we've got 0.1, so it's 4.1 wide there. From there to there it's 4.1. But what we want, the actual width we want, is the width to the next character. So if you imagine another character coming on somewhere around this area, I want the gap between this and the next character to be 1.5 millimeters. So from here I am going to add 1.5 mils. So what I'll do is I'll go 1 mil, and then I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 1.5 mil wider. So from there to here, what did I do that for? Right, so from here to here, there we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.6 millimeters. So that is the number that we're going to put in here. So what did I say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.6. So what we'll do is I'll just put 0.6. So for our letter E, it's 5.6 mil wide, and the character we need to save it as is 69. So for this, what I will do is I'll do a master. So what we'll do is we'll save that as, I'll put it in this folder, 69 master. So I've saved, basically I've saved everything in my master. This is because once I have created all my characters, I will do a test piece. I will get my plotter to do the alphabet, and if a character isn't quite right, I can come back to my original and see what I want to change. Then what we also want to do now is we want to create the actual character that the plotter is going to use. So what I'll do is I'll just turn off my handwriting, select everything and delete that. Then I will turn on my handwriting so that we only have the lines that we want to use in when we draw the actual E. So what I'll do is I'll now save that as 69. So it's just the actual ASCII number, and that's the one that the computer will use to actually draw that letter E. So we can save that. And then what I'll do is, once that's done, we just move on to the next character. What we'll do is we'll open up another character template. Then we'll just go back and choose another character, and then we'll just copy that, pick a point, go back to our template, and then we'll just paste it in. I'll just turn off snap so I can line it up, and then that's going to fit in there like that. And then we turn on to handwriting again, so I'll just make work on this layer, and remember we're just using this 3-point curve. Now what we can't do this, basically that's not going to be correct, is it? So what we do is we use our curve, and then what we do is we try to look for how many curves that are in there. There's one there, there's one there, and then it's fairly straight there, so we'll make that one curve, and then we get a shallower curve here, then there's a tight one there, and a bit of a straight. So what we'll do is we'll make it in that many curves. So we'll start with that curve there like that, then we'll just make, put my snap on, so because we want to snap to this point here, I want to snap to that point, otherwise our polyline won't work basically. So then I want a bit more of a curve here, and then from there we do, so I do another curve, and then from there we'll do maybe another curve, and then from there do a tighter curve, and then from there another curve. And there we go, we've followed it. You can adjust it. What we can do is we can select that, and we can grab that point, and I can just move it where I want. If I take my snaps off, I can get it a bit smoother. There, look at that. And then what we can do, once you're happy with that, and then what we can do is we do our other curve. And this is a bit of a squiggle here, so what I'll do is I'll just come down and I'll go like that, then I'll go from there to like that. So that was our 2 curves. I missed that point because I didn't have my snaps on, so what I'll do is I'll just zoom in, grab this, and just snap that to that point, so them two are connected. So basically that's our D, and we just do the same as we did before. If we bring our text file in, we look at our capital D. I've got it at 4 at the moment, but what we have is we have 1, 2, 3, 3.7 mil, and so I add another 1.5, so I'll just go to 4.7, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.2. So for my D, I'm going to put 5.2 in for there, because remember we need a little bit of a gap to the next character as well. So once I've done that, what was my D? My D was 68. So basically what I'll do is I'll save this as master 68. Change that to an 8. So that's my master done. Oh well, I've forgotten something. So what I need to do is must remember that we need to make all these as polylines. So we should just end up with 2 polylines here. So we go polyline, that's the first one, and then that's the second one. We just check the direction. We can see this is the start, and I can see that that's the start, and that's how I want it to be. So that's correct. So I'll just save that again because it's saved as master, and then what I'll do is I will turn that off and delete the other stuff, turn it back on. So that's our D, and then we just save this one as, what was it, 68? D is, yes, 68. So we go save as 68, because that's the one the computer is going to use, and we save that, and then that's the D done. So basically you need to do that for all these characters. and then once that's done, the program should work. So I hope that's been of some help. Thank you.